All right, good evening, good evening. I know a couple of you mentioned that you were looking for the midweek talk, and so here it is, midweek talk. And I just wanted to give a shout out to you, and I did promise you that I'm not going to be sitting here talking about coronavirus and COVID-19, but we're here to talk about something fun, you know. Hey, by the way, for those of you who have not checked it out yet, we are doing a season of growth. And in the season of growth, we're taking the Word of God, diving in the Word of God, learning some pretty cool things about, you know, how to be enthusiastic about the Word of God. And so I hope that you're taking part of that. And if you haven't yet, you know, catch up time for you, okay? But here's what I want to do. I want to take this midweek and just touch base with you on a couple of things that I think that's cool, you know. Just when I watch the many prophecies that, you know, that's about Jesus, and then every single prophecy, over 300 something of them, you know, depending where and who you're reading. And there was quite a bit of research on that, but every single one of them came to pass. And especially, and there are some that is left that has not come to pass yet. And probably you already know which one it is, but I just wanted to kind of show you how the Bible, such a pretty cool book, and for some of you who have not taken time to enjoy and read it, man, shame on you. But let me say that you could find so many cool things as you read the Bible. And so one of the things that I looked at is some of the prophecies. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to just point out to you, to show you how, you know, ever since the beginning, you know, it started pointing. God wanted us to know certain things, even though it wasn't as clear, you probably didn't know it. But eventually you see, oh, that's what he was trying to say. Oh, that's right. There was so many aha moments in the Word of God, man. And I dare you that you explore that and find that it's not cool. And that's what keeps my attention going, man. You could never outdo the Word of God. And so here is the first one of the first prophecy that I want to share with you is Genesis 3:15. Who would have thought Genesis 3:15 would be a prophecy, one that talks about Jesus who is to come. And but that's exactly what it was, you know. And nobody really figured it out then, you know, when God was telling, that was right after Adam and Eve sinned, and God was saying, you know, this is what's going to happen to you guys because of sin. And as you remember, when sin entered the Garden of Eden, everything spoiled. When sin enters your life, everything spoiled. And guess when sin enters your life? The minute that you're born, you know, it's just a matter of time and for things to happen. But here it is, and here's a simple prophecy, but yet I want you to see how it was really pointing to something else that people could have never known that's what it was. And so in Genesis 3:15, right after Adam and Eve sinned, and God is talking about the serpent, you know, that came and seduced them. He says, well, how did the serpent, and listen, I don't have the whole things mapped out yet, but here's what I know. I know in a world where everything was perfect, everything was going, it could have been that, yes, the serpent had a way to communicate. Yes, which again, keep in mind, Satan is smart. And Satan came in the form of a serpent. That's really what it was. And just as today, Satan can do anything. Satan can make somebody believe in Satan while they think they believe in God. That's how smart Satan is. So let me say that. Here is what God himself said. He said that I will put enmity, and now he's talking to Eve, okay, after she sinned. He says, I will put enmity between you and the woman. Well, he's talking to Satan, okay, and which is the serpent, right? He says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. what exactly that means, you know. But here's simply what it is. Soon as he said that, this is what was happening. God was already preparing how everything that fall in place, whether people knew it or not. And that's why you got to be careful what things happening today. You know, whether you know it or not, God may be putting something in place. Did you know it was years and years and years after, in Matthew chapter 1, that described a little baby was going to be born? But nobody had any clue. Even when the prophets talked about it, they had no clue. And so there may be things that's happening around you. You have no clue, but it's God working it out. I mean, like I told you, I'm going to stay away from coronavirus, but let me say that, man. God is working something out without nobody knows. So here's what I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you. Keep on focusing on Him. Keep on focusing on Him. Because here it is years later, and I want you to hear in the book of Hebrews what's written about that same prophecy, okay? Hebrews 2:14. Listen to what it says. It says, since the children have flesh and blood, He too shared in their humanity. And he's talking about Christ, okay? He too shared in their humanity, so that by His death, remember what we just celebrated? Death, burial, resurrection. So that by His death, He might break the power of him who holds the power of death. That is deep, y'all. Okay? So that by His death, He might break the one. Remember, He strike the heel, right? The serpent will strike the heels. Death, suffering, slap, spit up, humiliation. And then here it is. That He might break the power. Guess what that was? Resurrection. That is awesome. That's why I want you guys, you know, after the resurrection, man, for you to live a powerful life. In the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of everything else, man, your life will be powerful because Christ had overcome death. I'm so glad I had a chance to touch base with you midweek. Here's what I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage that you continue to take a look in God's. Maybe I could come again if you like it. Give me a thumb up, okay? And then maybe we could do more of that, because there are so many of them that's pretty cool. But it keeps on pointing to something that you would never thought about. And I mean, there was another one. I'm not going to say it now, but next week I will talk about the ascension. You're going to see how something was happening back then, way back in the Old Testament. But it was pointing out to the ascension. You know what the ascension is, right? What we're waiting for. Right after Christ's death, 40 days after He went up to heaven. So we'll talk about that maybe next week. We're going to talk about the different stuff so you could see how cool the Bible is. And so how you're missing out if you're not diving in it. And by the way, if you want to develop some enthusiasm, just dive in with us. You know, in the Psalm 119 right now, we're covering Psalm 119. And so every single day we cover a section, and you see that, I mean, there are so many nice things about diving in the Word and how the beauty of the Word of God. And may God bless you, may God encourage you. Listen, I just want you to subscribe if you haven't had a chance to do that. Give us a thumb up and put, you know, press on that little bell. And then on Sunday, when it's time for us to go live again, which I know that some of you did say that, man, you can't wait, because really that's the only time we have together. I know, we can't see each other in a sense, you know, shaking hands and all of that, but this is coming back. I'm telling you, man, this is only a matter of time. So be hopeful, and let me encourage families, guys, gather around together, and then just dive in Psalm 119 together. And next week we're also going to add Proverb, the book of Proverbs, which is wisdom. So add a little wisdom in this dry season, okay? And then make it fun. May God bless you. You have a cool end of the week, and then we'll see you again soon. God bless.